John had always been an adventurer at heart, but he had never experienced anything quite like the jungle. He had come to explore the lush terrain, but what he didn't expect was to become lost in the vast expanse. It had all started innocently enough. John had been exploring the jungle, excited by the sights and sounds of the wilderness. He had been walking for hours, taking in the stunning scenery, but he had been so engrossed that he had failed to notice the changing landscape. The first sign that something was wrong was when the trees began to look unfamiliar, and the path he had been following disappeared entirely. He retraced his steps, but it was no use. The jungle was vast, and he had no idea where he was. It was then that John knew he was lost. The realization hit him hard, and he began to feel a sense of panic rising inside of him. He knew he had to stay calm and find a way to survive. As he looked around, he saw that the jungle was teeming with life. He knew that he needed to find water and shelter, and he started to make his way through the dense foliage. He searched for hours, but there was no sign of water anywhere. Just when he thought he couldn't take it anymore, he saw a shimmer of light in the distance. It was a glimmer of hope that he had been praying for, and he pushed himself to keep going. As he got closer, he saw that it was a small stream. He drank from it greedily, filling his canteen and taking a moment to rest. But suddenly it started raining heavily. John knew he had to find shelter for the night. He searched the area and found a cave that he could take refuge in. It was dark and damp, but it was better than being out in the open. He set up camp, but he knew that he needed to start a fire to stay warm and dry. John searched the cave for rocks that he could use to create a spark. He found some rocks that were smooth and flat and started to strike them together. It took a while, but eventually he was able to create a spark, and the dry twigs he had gathered caught fire. He was relieved to have a source of warmth and light, but he knew that he needed to be careful with his fire. The cave was small, and the smoke could fill it quickly. He had to make sure that he had enough ventilation to keep the smoke moving out of the cave. As he sat by the fire, John heard a rustling sound outside the cave. He knew that there were dangerous animals in the jungle, and he had to be prepared for anything. He grabbed a stick and peeked outside the cave to see what was making the noise. As soon as John got outside of cave, he saw a massive tiger staring at him. The tiger had a fierce look in its eyes, and John knew that he was in trouble. He tried to back away slowly, but the tiger started to advance towards him. John knew that he had to fight for his life. He picked up a stick and held it out in front of him, hoping to scare the tiger away. But the tiger was too quick. It lunged at John, and he had to jump out of the way to avoid being attacked. John knew that he had to think fast. He picked up a nearby rock and threw it at the tiger, hitting it on the side of the head. The tiger let out a roar of pain, but it didn't back down. John knew that he had to keep fighting. He picked up a branch and swung it at the tiger, hitting it on the nose. The tiger growled and lunged at John again, but this time he was ready. He jumped to the side and swung the branch with all his might, hitting the tiger on the back. The tiger stumbled and fell to the ground, giving John the opportunity to run away. He didn't stop until he was sure that the tiger wasn't following him. John was shaken but relieved to have survived the encounter. He knew that he had to be even more careful as he continued his journey through the jungle. Days turned into weeks, and John continued to face new challenges. He had to navigate through the jungle, crossing rivers and climbing mountains. He encountered all kinds of wildlife, from snakes to crocodiles, and he had to be quick on his feet to avoid danger. One day, John stumbled upon an ancient temple deep in the jungle. He was amazed by the intricate carvings and the mysterious atmosphere. But he knew that he had to be careful. The temple could be home to dangerous animals who didn't want him there. John continued to explore the ancient temple, marveling at the intricate carvings and the mysterious atmosphere. He carefully made his way through the halls, always mindful of any danger that may be lurking. This was part 1 of the story, Surviving the Wild. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring content.